Hello everyone, welcome to GK Today, and in this video we will be discussing about United Nations recently released report International Migration 2020 highlights. So according to the United Nations report International Migration 2020 highlights, India has the largest diaspora in the world. So what does the word diaspora means? See, it means the dispersion or spread of any people from their original homeland. So, in case of India, more than 18 million people from India were living outside India as of 2020. Now let's discuss that what are the key findings of this report. So we will be discussing all the key findings one by one. So according to the report, other countries with large diaspora are Mexico, China, Russia and Syria apart from India. And it also states that India's diaspora is distributed across a number of major countries such as United Arab Emirates with 3.5 million people, followed by Saudi Arabia with 2.5 million people, that is followed by United States with 2.7 million people. And the report also states that the other countries hosting large number of migrants from India are Oman, Australia, Kuwait, Canada, Qatar, Pakistan and United Kingdom. Further, according to the report, it was between the year 2000 and 2020 that the size of migrant population has grown in all the countries in the world. And it is during this period that India has experienced the largest gain at nearly 10 million people. So, India was followed by Syria, Venezuela, China and Philippines. So, the countries where the migrant population increased during this period are Armenia, India, Ukraine, Pakistan and Tanzania. Further, the report also states that the migration of India was motivated by labor and family reasons, and the United States was the largest country of destination of international migrants. And also, there were some more than 51 million migrants in the United States as of 2020, which is equal to around 18% of the total migration population of the world. And apart from it, the United States was followed by Germany, and Germany hosted the second largest migrant workers worldwide, holding more than 16 million migration population. And Germany was followed by Saudi Arabia, Russia and the United Kingdom. Further, the United Nations report also states that the COVID-19 has slowed down the growth in the stock of international migrants by around 2 million by mid-2020, and this is 27% less than the growth expected since 2019. So the growth in the number of international migration has reached 281 million, and it was 173 million in 2000 and 221 million in 2010. So currently the total international migrants are about only 3.6% of the world population. Further, in terms of regional migration corridors, the Central and the Southern Asia to Northern Africa and Western Asia grew the most. And in these corridors, the migrant population almost tripled between the year 2000 and 2020. So now, after discussing about all the key important features or findings of the report of the United Nations, I would like to discuss about the basic topic about migration and refugees, because basically this report of the United Nations is on international migration. So let's start with the topic. See, migration is basically a movement of people from one place to another for setting permanently or temporary and at a new geographical location. And migration can be external as well as internal also. It can be external when it is done from one country to another country, and internal when it is taken place within the countries, and it is not taken place outside the territory of the homeland country. Now let's discuss that what is a refugee and what is an asylum seeker. So these two terms are considered very synonymously, but there is a slight difference in them. See, a person who is forcefully displaced from their homes, and sometimes due to natural disaster or a civil disturbance, is described as a displaced person. And while a person who is seeking refuge in another country due to some political, religious, or even another form of persecution in home country make a formal application where refugee is sought and is described as asylum seeker. See, and if this application is successful, then this person's legal status becomes that of a refugee. See, the process of migration can be of two types. Firstly, it could be voluntary, or secondly, it could be forced migration. See, voluntary migration is based on the free will of the migrating person, which involves factors like economic, political, and social due to jobs, excessive pollution, sometimes hunger, natural disaster, etc. While forced migration refers to the movement of refugees and internally displaced people as well as people displaced due to famine or developmental projects. Now let's also discuss that what is Global Compact for Migration. See, the Global Compact for Safe, Orderly and Regular Migration is the first internationally negotiated statements of objectives for migration governance, although it's not legally binding in nature. Now let's also discuss the leading intergovernmental organization in the field of migration, which works closely with governmental, intergovernmental, and non-governmental partners. That is the International Organization for Migration (IOM), which also works under the mandate of the United Nations. Now let's begin with the MCQ part. So I have framed these questions related to this particular topic, that is migration and refugee. So our first question of the day is that on which date International Migration Day is observed? So the options are 18th December, 22nd December, 26th December or 29th December. So the correct answer is that International Migration Day is celebrated on 18th December. Now the next question is that in which year International Organizations for Migration was established? So the options are in the year 1945, in the year 1951, 1965 and the last option is 1979. So the correct answer is that International Organization for Migration, that is the leading intergovernmental organization in the field of migration and that works under the mandate of the United Nations, was established in the year 1951 and its headquarters are at Switzerland. So the next question is that on which date World Refugee Day is celebrated? So the options are 20th June, 6th May, 3rd October and 4th November. So the correct answer is 20th June. See, according to United Nations, the persons who are outside their country of nationality or habitual residence and unable to return there owing to serious and indiscriminate threats of life, physical integrity or freedom resulting from generalized violence or events seriously disturbing public orders are persons recognized as refugees. See, basically, refugees are the people who are forced to flee their resident country because of war, violence or persecution, and such people are protected by international law, specifically the 1951 Refugee Convention that deals with their rights. And it must be noted that India is having large population of refugee and is not a signatory to this convention. Now let's discuss the next question, that is in which year New York Declaration for Refugees and Migrants was adopted? And the options are 2002, 2006, 2010 and 2016. So the correct option is 2016. See, the United Nations General Assembly unanimously adopted the New York Declaration for the Refugees and Migrants on September 19, 2016, which reaffirms the importance of the international refugee regime and commitments by member states to strengthen and enhance mechanisms to protect refugees and migrants. And it resulted in the adoptions of two new global compacts in 2018. The first one is a global compact on refugees and the second one is a global compact for safe, orderly and regular migration. So now that's all for this video. Hope this information was relevant for you. Thank you.